Hello everyone, welcome back to NextGen SAP Integration. Today we are going to discuss about security materials and Keystore. Every enterprise integration exchanges sensitive business data such as employee information, customer records or invoices and financial transactions. Like we have many. To protect this information, SAP Integration Suite provides security materials and Keystore. So by end of this particular lesson, you will understand why security matters, different security material types, key store, how security materials work during iFlow execution, which security material should be used in different scenarios, best practices followed in real projects. Let's get started. First, why security matters, right? We need to understand. Before learning security materials, let's first understand why security is important. Imagine a company is integrating SuccessFactors with S/4HANA. This is one integration. Employee salary data is moving through SAP Integration Suite. Now ask like one question. What happens if anyone can intercept this particular data? Obviously, that becomes a major security issue. This is why every enterprise integration must be secure. SAP Integration Suite follows 4 important security principles. First one, authentication. Authentication, it will be verify identity of a particular user or system or service. It introduces yourself to the system, that is called authentication. Before any system communicates with another system, it first verifies identity. Example, SuccessFactors authenticates with SAP Integration Suite. Microsoft Graph authenticates using OAuth. SFTP authenticates using SSH keys. Like we can authenticate the system, person or service. So the next one is authorization. Once identity is verified, the next question is, what are you allowed to access? In a company, then the security will authenticate it. In the security will authenticate it in the main gate. In the company inside, you need to come to particular ODC, right? That is called authorization. You don't need to go all over the company. You only go to particular place. That is authorization. So not every authenticated user should access everything. Authorization controls permission. Example, you can say a user may deploy iFlows but cannot modify security materials. The next one, encryption. Even after authentication, data travels through the internet. Someone could intercept network traffic. Encryption converts readable data into encryption format. Only the receiver can decrypt it. Example, we can use HTTPS, TLS, SSL, PGP encryption. The last one, confidentiality. So only intended users should see business data. Employee salary, bank details, customer information, purchase orders, they must remain confidential, right? So we can see one example. Suppose integration suite calls Microsoft Graph or API. Authentication using OAuth. Authorization validates permission. HTTPS encrypt communication. Secure response is returned. This is why security matters. So there are different types of security materials. We can see what are they. So here you can see in SAP Integration Suite, security materials are different types. We can see one by one. Think security materials are like using a secure vault where all sensitive information is stored. Instead of hard coding passwords or certificates inside iFlows, SAP recommends to store everything here. Okay, here the types are user credentials. What it can do? It stores particular username, password, basic authentication. It is like example FTP adapter or SFTP, we can use it. Database adapters, we can use it. HTTP basic authentication. So connecting to any SFTP using username and password, we can save username and password in particular name, that is called security material. The other security material type is OAuth credentials. So modern applications don't use passwords. Instead, they use OAuth. OAuth stores client ID, client secret, token URL, refresh token. So these all will be saving in particular place, that is called security materials. Example, Microsoft Graph, success factors, any cloud system you can take, we can able to access through OAuth. And the other one is SSH keys. These are mainly used for SFTP communication. Instead of passwords, authentication happening using private key, public key, more secure than passwords. So this is the way we can authenticate using SSH keys for SFTP connections. The other one is certificates. Certificates establish trust between systems. Suppose used in HCPS, mutual SSL, digital signatures, encryption, real projects, we can use connecting to bank or any secure APIs using client certificate. Like secure parameters. What is secure parameters? It can store all API keys, passwords, secret tokens, client secrets. These all will be encrypted. So instead of writing passwords inside Groovy scripts, we can reference secure parameters. Like the other and final one is API keys and barrier tokens. Some third-party applications are API keys, barrier tokens instead of OAuth they are using. Example, REST APIs, custom APIs or cloud applications using API keys or barrier tokens. We can call it like OAuth barrier token. So instead of OAuth authentication, it will use barrier tokens. So here we understand, never hardcode sensitive information inside iFlows. Always use security materials. The next one we can see how security materials used in iFlows, right? So here we have sender, and sender adapter is trigger the iFlow. Message is processed in iFlow processing. Security materials, adapter references the required security materials, is credentials or certificate or keystore, anything, it will be referred from here and bring the name of it from security materials. It can be validated here. Then it will be calling to receiver adapter. Adapter can uses the security material to connect security to the target system. Then message is delivered securely to the target system. So this is where it will be. Suppose here we encrypted using PGP keys, or we are using for SFTP and all, we are using for basic authentication username and password. So SSH keys we are using, or OAuth credentials we are using. So the security materials repository, therein user credentials it will store, OAuth credentials, SSH keys, certificates, secure parameters, everything. So keystore is like secure storage, private key, public certificate, certificate chain or trusted. These all will be stored in keystore. Secure storage it is. So security materials are not stored in iFlow, logic or messages. They are securely stored in SAP integration suite and referred by adapters. This ensure confidentiality, integrity and secure communication between the source system and target system in between SAP CPI. So use security materials and keystores to protect your integrations, avoid hard coding and ensure secure communication. Now you can see keystore. Think of a keystore as a secure locker inside SAP integration suite. It stores cryptographic information securely. Let's see what it contains. It contains private keys used for digital signature, message signing, decryption, client authentication. Private keys never leave integration suite. The second one, certificates, stores X509 certificates used for identity encryption, trust. certificate chain. Sometimes one certificate isn't enough. A certificate chain establishes complete trust. It comes root, root CA, intermediate CA, server certificate, trusted certificates. So also called trusted store. It stores trusted certificates to verify the identity of external systems. Whether integration suite connects to HTTP systems, it verifies the server certificate. Common use cases like HTTPS, digital signature, data encryption, AS2, SFTP, we can say anything. Like these are the common things. So suppose you are coming to, like you are connecting to bank. The bank provides client certificate, private key, certificate chain. You import them into Keystore. During runtime, integration suite automatically use them. The next one, which security material should I use, right? We need to understand, okay, these are different scenarios. We can use different securities, but when we can use what? So this is most important because we need to know when to use for what the purpose. So basic authentication like user credentials, OAuth, OAuth like OAuth credentials we can use for SFTP, like SSH keys, mutual SSL like certificate, message signing we can use for private key, and JLT authentication for like OAuth credentials. So API keys we use secure parameters. So HTTP validation we use trust store. So in interviews you will get like if Microsoft Grab uses OAuth, which security material should you create? For OAuth, what we can create? OAuth credentials, right? If connecting to SFTP, SSH keys. Simple. Like in interviews, you will get questions. Accordingly, we will need to answer. The next one, security materials and keystore in SAP integration, right? We need to understand. We have security materials and they are stored centrally. During iFlow execution, adapters referring security materials. So behind the scene, Keystore stores private keys, certificate trusted store, and certificate chains. Finally, integration suite securely communicate with SAP or any third-party clouds like Microsoft Salesforce, third-party applications like database cloud systems. So these are overall architecture followed in real projects. You can see here we have security material types, and in between we have the process iFlow, how it is, and how adapters are getting the information from security materials. The information whatever it is getting from here, the information stored in Keystore, and Keystore purpose is securely stores keys and certification and enables encrypted communication, validates identity of remote systems and used in adapters and integration flows. So where it is used, HTTP, SFTPs, and we use TLS authentication, B2B integrations, or like secure API connectivity. So best practices we get, never hard code the security, never hard code passwords, and allows us use security, and we can do route certificates and credentials regularly, and we can monitor and review security usage. So these are very important while working with SAP CPI. The other one we are seeing the best practices for security materials and Keystore. So we need to implement the things at best practice. Otherwise, it will be not working as expected. So let's finish with the best practice, like never hard code passwords. Always store them in security materials. Prefer OAuth over basic authentication. Rotate certificates before expiry. Review security materials periodically. Remove unused certificates. Follow least privilege principle. Enable audit logs. Monitor certificate expiry. Document ownership. Perform certificate renewal before expiration. All these best practices ensure security, compliance, maintainability, high availability, production readiness. So we need to be very conscious while working with security part. So you are seen your completed security materials and keystore in SAP integration suite. In coming lessons, we will perform complete live demo where we will create user credentials. So credentials for an example. And if you found this session helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to NextGen SAP integration for more SAP integration suite tutorials. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Here I am creating user credentials for particular SFTP. This is a public SFTP. It is a free server. Anyone can just use for understanding or practice purpose. This is a host name, username, and password. I just created user credential for SFTP cloud. So we need to be save user credentials using these details, like runtime we choose cloud integration and integration, so both will be work, and passwords we are giving, and this is the one. Before that we need to place it host names, known host. This will authenticate your system. So how you can generate host key, we can just go here and we need to connectivity test where we can get host names. Here you can see SSH, and you can use host, and then it is, we are checking it is usable or not. You can see host key fingerprint. We just copy it and back to our security materials where we can create, add, create known host. If the file is not there, we can create. If already file is there, we just go and edit and we can add here. Already I'm having like added here, where I'm just for file purpose I'm again deploying, so it is deployed. So known host is there and credentials already there. Now we are go to our integrations. So the first security material we are created user credential. This is simplest authentication mechanism. It stores only, as I said, username and password. So every security material requires unique name that I given, right? So here we are coming and I created one package, security and keystores. Here two artifacts I created for our demo pass. First one is user credentials. So we are here using one sender and using HTTPS, data is coming to CPI. Here one content modifier for transformations, and it is data is going to be SFTP what we created just before credentials, right? So HTTP, this receiver adapter is like authentication. We can choose none authentication at the moment. We don't want any. When we select the adapter, we can see the configurations. Here I am not selecting any user role, this it is fine. And inside HTTP receiver adapter, instead of entering like username, and I simply select this particular thing, and we can see while connecting to the SFTP, data is moving onwards. Instead of here address the host, I updated username and password. Instead of username and password, I'm just placing SFTP cloud. That is the name which we created in security materials. So I placed it. Apart from that, nothing. Host name is simple, proxy type, internet, and authentication username and password, the name of it, credential, and remaining or default settings. I created simple iFlow, and now using Postman, I'm using the endpoint. This is the endpoint for Postman. So say sending, this is the endpoint, sending data to postman. Suppose I am taking sample data. This is the sample data I am taking. Welcome to NextGen SAP Integration. Learn Cloud Integration, API Management, Event Mesh, Groovy Scripts, Real-Time Integration Scenarios. And this is my YouTube channel. If you like, want to share with someone, and do subscribe, please go NextGen SAP Integration. Start your SAP Integration journey today. Then I click send. Yeah, it is coming 200. Okay, then we can go and check how it is completed or not. You can see it is completed, data is passing. We can verify here in the body the data is coming or not. The data is coming. So like we are able to set up client like these client credentials and username and password, setting one of it. And here user credentials are very simple and still used in many integrations. Modern cloud application no longer prefer basic authentication. So we are going to be next demonstration like OAuth credentials. So OAuth credentials, like before going to be credentials, Microsoft Graph, I used it to connect Microsoft Graph. So for Microsoft Graph, we need to go portal.azure.com. This is for your example. Any application, this is the same, but we don't do anything here in like vendor portal. This is like a vendor portal, we can say, since we are connecting CPI to this particular here. In my, for trial purpose, I am coming to here Active Directory and created one application. Application registration has happened here with see, you can see all applicants like CPI, OAuth demo. I have related information, client ID, client secret, everything I created. I given required permissions. Then for the postman, I am trying to do that. So first initially we will get a token to access Microsoft Graph. So we can get token using this client ID. I get client secret, the scope of it, Microsoft graph.microsoft.com, and client credentials. So here I received token, access token. So I just copy the access token and used for getting the data from Microsoft Graph. So barrier token, I replace the token, right? So I'm just trying to send. So I received the data. So this is where we will reach out any other applications. Any application you want to connect from CPI, you need to get client credentials. You update client credentials and send it. Like these OAuth authentications we can implement in CPI also. So here same, I'm using Postman. So send the data to CPI. Once data is coming, and request reply I'm using for connecting to third-party vendor like Microsoft particular Microsoft Graph. Here you can see the configuration settings for HTTP. Earlier we seen for SFTP, like here also same, but the option we changed here, instead of username and password, OAuth client credentials. This graph auth I am giving in security materials. In security materials, I'm graph auth, I'm giving OAuth client credentials. It is I deployed, I given what is the username, what is the client ID, what is the secret. Here you can see graph, and this is one, and this is a token URL what we used in Postman. Token URL we need to replace it. This is a token URL, we need to replace it. And body, it is client ID and client secret, and the scope what is we want to connect, that is the scope we already given here. So and application like JSON, or you can say this is fine, everything is fine, right? So I deployed it and I run the application. So these are two different ways we are doing that. One is user credentials, the other one is cloud. The other we have another options to do that, but I'm only demonstrate only two for your reference. You can try. other and tell me if any issues. You can see apart from user and client credentials, we have SAML barrier and authorization goes secure parameter. So you can do anything, and if you have any issues, you can reach out me as comments, or you can reach out me directly. I will help you. And today we learned two most commonly used authentication mechanisms in SAP integration suite, right? One is user credentials. It is suitable for basic authentication for legacy systems and all. And the OAuth authentication is preferred for choice modern cloud applications such as any cloud application, Salesforce, SuccessFactors, Microsoft or Amazon, any REST API. So you can reach out me if any issues. Thank you for watching the video, and if you like and do subscribe, please do NextGen SAP integration. Thank you. Now we have completed theoretical concepts of security materials and keystore. Theory is important, but the real projects, we rarely create security materials just for learning. We create them because adopters need to authenticate with external systems. Now let's switch to live demonstration. I will demonstrate two real world scenarios. First, user credentials, which is used in many legacy systems and internal applications. Second, OAuth credentials using Microsoft Graph API, which is one of the most common enterprise integrations today. Here you can see security materials coming from monitor. So the section is from SAP integration suite and monitoring, and after monitoring we are coming to security materials. This is a centralized repository where all authentication details stored and securely. One important and best practices is that we never hard code usernames or passwords inside an iFlow. Why? Because if we have 50 integrations connecting to same application, if the password changes, updating all 50 iFlows would be very difficult and it's nightmare. Instead, we store credentials once here. We just use the name of security material and we run all 50 iFlows easily, right? So just reference, it is a reference to the security materials. Like here, user credentials, the first security material we will create user credentials. This is the user credentials. This is the simplest authentication mechanism. It stores two things, username and password, and generally used whenever the target application supports basic authentication. So every security material requires user unique name, and this name later selected inside our adapter. Notice that password is encrypted. Even administrator cannot directly read the stored password. SAP encrypts it internally. And so